Kristy Smith, born Christina Catherine Pintarik, 8th of November 1961, was a dear friend of mine since childhood. As kids we played, sang and dreamed and longed for what we would one day become. Kristy never dreamed of becoming a classified schizophrenic. No one ever does. Since her first onset of full-blown schizophrenia, as it was called, I was determined to help Kristy find a path back to normal life. This is the story of one girl's survival, an unhealthy survival, perpetuated by a government system that does not cure schizophrenia.
White elephant sails always make me cry.
According to the National Mental Health Strategy, a person with schizophrenia typically experiences changes in behaviour and perception, disordered thinking that can distort their sense of reality. This is referred to as psychosis. The major symptoms of schizophrenia include delusions, hallucinations, thought disorder, lack of drive, thinking difficulties, blunted expressions of emotions, social withdrawal, and lack of insight, just to name a few. I was told that Kristy suffered from a chemical imbalance in her brain and that she was lacking in a normal neurotransmitter called dopamine, which made her depressed and likely to hurt herself. So she was put on a health plan and was administered a drug that would help get the dopamine level normal. It sounded easily resolved, but it wasn't. She had to stay on the drug for however long she had the illness, and schizophrenia had no limited lifespan. It could go on as long as she lived. I decided to visit Kristy and caught a plane to Coolangatta. I arrived at the house she was staying at with Ike, her new boyfriend. I was pleased she was with Ike and not completely alone. It meant that she was taken care of at least. I hadn't seen Kristy for a few years now, and I was wondering if her condition had gotten worse.
Me cry. You're walking down my street.
Just want to say it's great to see you, Chris, and you're really fun to be with.
Oh, good. That's a lovely thing to say. I appreciate that.
You always make me cry.
Kristy had put on some weight, which was partly due to the drugs she was injected with monthly and partly due to her sedentary lifestyle. She was mostly lethargic and her main activity was smoking cigarettes. It bothered me that Kristy had to be maintained in this unnaturally drugged state for however long was necessary. It meant that Kristy would live a sedated life with little activity, with a lowered state of drive, no real interaction with the world. How on earth was that meant to be a health plan?
Always make me cry.
Kristy talked a lot about her daughter Ty, who was taken from her at the age of 5 when Kristy became a ward of the state. Ty was brought up by her grandparents, and complications meant hardly any visits. The daughter had become estranged and grew scared to see Mummy. I had always felt that there was great injustice in a system that separated mother and child, and that however necessary it might have been to remove Ty from her mother's schizophrenia, it was wrong to make a child estranged from its own mother. Ty herself would grow up fearing mental illness. There seemed to be a flaw in our government's health system, our community's lack of understanding of mental illness. and our unchanging way of treating the disease. I had to go back to my life in Sydney and leave Kristy to her lethargic state of being. I know that she put on a smile for me and showed me that she was coping, but deep down I knew that she was not her real self, that although the drug kept her happy to a point, she was left in limbo, unhealthy and a classified schizophrenic. There had to be a better way. My search took me to several different people. One of them was naturopath and herbalist, Dr. Ian Pyle.
It doesn't matter what your disease is, where your disease is, how chronic or acute that problem is, the blood is involved. The blood has got to take the nutrient, the oxygen and the medicine to that area to fix it. And having fixed it, it's got to pick up that rubbish and bring it back up to your filter, your liver, and your liver's got to be functioning properly. It's got to be able to neutralise the toxic waste and rubbish, and it's got to be able to eliminate it through the bowel. We must start off with the bowel.
The bowel? Was I hearing correctly? I was really excited after talking to Ian because I felt I could help Kristy. Ian told me there were 3 herbs he used to help cure schizophrenia with, and he had helped others fight this disease before. All I had to do now was convince Kristy to do the treatment. I had so much hope.